imagine, for a moment, the absolute stillness of a pristine morning. The date is June 30, 1908. You are standing in the heart of Siberia, a place so remote, so vast, that time itself seems to lose its meaning. The sun has just risen over the Podkometa Tunguska River. The air is crisp, smelling of pine needles and damp earth. The sky is a piercing, innocent blue. There is no sound but the gentle rustle of the taiga and the distant call of a waking bird. It is the definition of peace. And then, the sky rips open. It doesn't begin with a sound. It begins with light, a light so blindingly intense that it erases shadows, turning the morning sun into a pale ghost. For a split second, there are two suns in the sky, one life-giving, the other a bringer of apocalypse. Then comes the heat. It is not a gradual warmth. It is a furnace door thrown open against the skin of the world. Silverware melts in homes 40 miles away. Shirts begin to smoke on the backs of farmers. And finally, the sound arrives. It is not a boom. It is the roar of a god dying. A shockwave, solid as a wall of iron, slams into the earth. Trees, 80 million of them, are snapped like dry matchsticks in a single heartbeat. Reindeer are vaporized, leaving nothing but charred silhouettes on the moss. The ground ripples like water. Thousands of miles away, in London, barometers twitch nervously. In Washington, D.C., seismographs detect a tremor that suggests the Earth has just been struck by a giant hammer. But here is the most terrifying part of all. When the dust settles, when the fires burn out, and when humanity finally gathers the courage to trek into this frozen hell to find the object that caused this Armageddon, they find nothing. No crater, no asteroid, no fragment of a cosmic intruder, just a scarred Earth and a silence that screams a question we are still struggling to answer. What really happened on the day the sky fell? To understand the Tunguska event, we must step back from the blast zone and look at the world as it was in 1908. It was a world on the brink of change, yet still tethered to the past. The Wright brothers had only taken flight 5 years prior. Henry Ford was just introducing the Model T. But in the depths of Russia, under the rule of the Tsar, life remained medieval. The region of Tunguska was a green ocean of forestry, inhabited chiefly by the Evenki people, indigenous nomads who lived in harmony with the reindeer and the spirits of the land. On that fateful morning, at 7:17 a.m. local time, the serenity of their existence was shattered. Eyewitness accounts, gathered decades later, paint a picture of biblical terror. S.B. Semenov was a farmer sitting on the porch of his house at the Venezuela trading post, roughly 40 miles from the epicenter. His testimony is one of the most chilling records we possess. He described a fire that covered the sky. The heat was so intense, he felt as though his shirt was on fire. He wanted to tear it off, but before he could move, the shockwave threw him from his porch. He lost consciousness. When he awoke, the windows of his home were shattered, the barn door was broken, and the earth was groaning. Farther away, passengers on the Trans-Siberian Railway saw the train cars shake violently. The conductor, fearing derailment, slammed on the brakes. They looked out the windows to see the horizon glowing with a strange, pulsating light, coupled with a thunderous roar that sounded like artillery fire. Was it war? Had the Japanese attacked? Or was this the end of days? In the immediate aftermath, a strange phenomenon gripped the northern hemisphere. For days following the explosion, the night sky didn't go dark. In London and Stockholm, people could read newspapers at midnight without street lamps. The atmosphere was choked with knocked-loosened clouds, ice crystals glowing high in the stratosphere, reflecting the sun from the other side of the globe. The dust from the explosion had been thrown so high that it had wrapped itself around the planet. Yet despite the global signals, silence followed. Russia was a troubled bear, distracted by internal strife. the Russo-Japanese War, and the brewing storms of the Bolshevik Revolution. The Tsar had no resources to chase ghosts in Siberia. The Tunguska region was abandoned to the elements. The Evenki people, those who survived, fled the area. They whispered that Ogdi, the god of fire and thunder, had descended to curse the land. They declared the zone forbidden. For nearly 20 years, the Valley of the Dead lay undisturbed, guarding its secret. It wasn't until 1921, after the dust of the Russian Revolution had settled, that a man named Leonid Kulik entered the story. Kulik was a mineralogist, a man of science with the tenacity of a bulldog. He had heard the rumors of a filthy visit from the sky. He believed a massive iron meteorite had struck Siberia, a treasure trove of extraterrestrial metal that could aid Soviet industry. But more than that, he was driven by the need to know. Kulik's first attempts to reach the site were failures. The terrain of Siberia is unforgiving. Swamps that can swallow a horse whole, mosquitoes that swarm in clouds thick enough to choke a man, and temperatures that swing from blistering heat to bone-cracking cold. But in 1927, 19 years after the explosion, Kulik finally broke through. As his expedition pushed deeper into the taiga, the guides, local Evenki hunters, became increasingly fearful. They refused to go further, speaking of the rot and the curse. Kulik pressed on alone with his team. What they found froze the blood in their veins. They reached a ridge overlooking the valley, expecting to see a massive crater, a hole in the world where the rock had landed. Instead, they saw the butterfly. Below them lay 800 square miles of forest, an area larger than London, completely flattened. But the trees weren't just knocked down. They were arranged in a radial pattern, like the spokes of a bicycle wheel. And at the very center, the epicenter, something bizarre had happened. The trees there were still standing, but they were stripped of every branch and stripped of their bark. They looked like a forest of telegraph poles, ghostly white skeletons pointing accusingly at the sky.
Kulik was baffled. If a meteorite had struck the ground, where was the crater? Where was the debris? He spent years dredging the swamps, draining peat bogs, searching for the meteorite. He found nothing. No iron, no rock, just microscopic spheres of silicate and magnetite, tiny cosmic dust. It was as if the object had simply vanished. This absence of a body gave birth to the mystery that fuels nightmares to this day. If it wasn't a rock that hit the ground, what was it? Over the decades, the vacuum of evidence was filled with theories ranging from the plausible to the fantastic. In the mid-20th century, as humanity entered the atomic age, a new and terrifying realization dawned. The devastation at Tunguska looked suspiciously like the aftermath of a nuclear bomb. The heat flash, the shock wave, the telegraph pole trees standing directly under the blast. It was exactly what was seen in Hiroshima and Nagasaki in 1945. This coincidence led to wild speculation. Had a nuclear-powered alien spacecraft exploded over Siberia? A famous science fiction writer, Alexander Kazantsev, popularized this theory. He pointed to the lack of a crater and the radiation-like mutations reportedly found in local plant life. While scientists scoffed, the idea took root in the public imagination. Was 1908 actually first contact, ending in a catastrophic engine failure? Others looked to the genius of Nikola Tesla. In 1908, Tesla was experimenting with his death ray, a wireless transmission of massive amounts of energy. On the day of the explosion, Tesla had reportedly been conducting tests. Did he accidentally fire a pulse of energy that overshot its target and landed in Siberia? It is a compelling narrative for a sci-fi thriller, but history tells us Tesla's equipment, while advanced, was nowhere near powerful enough to level a forest on the other side of the world. Then came the astrophysicists with darker theories. Could it have been a microscopic black hole passing through the Earth, or perhaps a chunk of antimatter? These theories explain the lack of debris. Antimatter would annihilate upon contact with ordinary matter, releasing pure energy. But these were solutions looking for a problem, exotic physics trying to explain a dirty reality. The truth, as modern science has slowly pieced together, is likely more grounded, but no less terrifying. Today, the leading consensus brings us back to the cosmos, but with a twist. It wasn't a solid impact, it was an airburst. Imagine a rocky asteroid, perhaps 150 to 200 feet wide, hurtling through the vacuum of space at 33,500 miles per hour. It enters Earth's atmosphere. The friction is immense. The air in front of the rock cannot move out of the way fast enough. It compresses and heats up to temperatures hotter than the surface of the sun. The rock begins to crumble under the pressure. At an altitude of roughly 3 to 6 miles above the Siberian ground, the structural integrity of the asteroid fails. It doesn't just break, it detonates. The kinetic energy of millions of tons of rock moving at hypersonic speed is instantly converted into heat and shock. The explosion was equivalent to 15 megatons of TNT. That is 1,000 times more powerful than the bomb dropped on Hiroshima. This explains everything. The heat flash singed the ground before the shockwave arrived. The shockwave slammed downward, stripping the branches off the trees directly below the telegraph poles because the force was vertical, while pushing the trees further out, flat against the ground. And because the rock vaporized in the explosion, there was no crater, only a rain of microscopic dust that Kulik would find decades later. We received a chilling reminder of this reality in 2013 over the city of Chelyabinsk. A smaller asteroid exploded in the atmosphere, shattering windows and injuring over 1,000 people. Dashcam videos captured the streak of light and the sonic boom. It was a miniature Tunguska, a warning shot across the bow of civilization. But the story of Tunguska is not just about physics or geology. It is a story about vulnerability. As we stand at the edge of the 21st century, looking back at that summer day in 1908, the silence of the Siberian forest speaks louder than ever. We often think of our planet as a fortress, a stable, unshakable home. We build our cities, fight our wars, and dream our dreams, assuming the ground beneath us is permanent. But the Tunguska event peels back that illusion. It reminds us that we are living in a cosmic shooting gallery. The object that leveled 800 square miles of forest arrived without warning. There was no radar to track it, no missile to intercept it. If that object had arrived just 4 hours later, due to the rotation of the Earth, it would not have struck the empty taiga. It would have detonated over St. Petersburg. It would have erased the imperial capital from the map, killing hundreds of thousands in a blink of an eye. History would have been rewritten in blood. Tunguska serves as a humble memento mori for our species. It is a testament to the blind luck that has allowed humanity to thrive. The trees have grown back in Siberia. The scars on the land are healing, covered by moss and time. The Valley of the Dead is alive again with the sounds of wolves and wind. But the mystery remains, not in what happened, but in when it will happen again. The universe is vast, ancient, and indifferent to our existence. The Tunguska explosion wasn't an attack. It was a random event in a chaotic solar system. It teaches us that while we look down at our phones and our petty borders, we should effectively be looking up. Because the sky that brings the morning sun is the same sky that once upon a time brought the fire. And in the grand, silent dark of space, the rocks are still out there, drifting, waiting for their date with destiny. The question isn't if another Tunguska is coming. The question is, will we be ready when the sky splits open again?